Hi, welcome to today's episode of Between Friends. We're going to be cleaning our embroidery machines today. So I hope that this is something that you do in your sewing studio on a regular basis, because the better we treat our machines, the better embroidery we'll produce in every hooping, right? And isn't that the goal? You know, if your machine is full of lint or adhesives that are stuck to the machine bed or maybe the hoop, then it's probably time to give it a little spa treatment. You don't always have to take it to a certified mechanic, but you most certainly can, you know, and you should do that every year. But there's in between, if you're an avid embroiderer using that machine all the time, then you should do a little, you know, preventive maintenance on it. It's not complicated. In fact, you know, frankly, it feels good to do it, right? You just feel like you've really accomplished something. So it's so nice to have so many folks here today. We have Palma Galati, it looks like, up in Oregon. I hope you're having a beautiful day up there. Kathy Suit, you're, well, I don't know where she is, but hi, Kathy. Thanks for the nice comment. Sharon Crean up in New York. And we have several people in Texas today. Boy, it is hot in Texas. Yesterday, we had the highest temperature of the year here in Dallas, 103. And hi, Sam. Welcome from the UK. We love having you here. Thanks for joining us from across the pond. We've been watching the Olympics here avidly, so lots of connection with all of our European friends and all the athletes across the world, right? It's a really happy time for many of the athletes, and some others maybe not so much. Okay, so let's kind of get right into it. Why do we do it and what do we do? So we're going to talk about cleaning a single and a multi-needle. That's what we're going to work on. We're going to talk about the bobbin and hook area. That's the most crucial part. You know, that's where we seem to get the most lint buildup. And how to clean those embroidery feet. Sometimes you have to do that. And then our embroidery hoop. So we're going to work on a standard hoop and then a snap hoop monster. Well, not a monster, but a sticky hoop, because, yeah, they do get a little gunky. They do. So let's see. Next we have, you know, we always want to gather our tools, right? And first off is our cleaning supply. So you're going to need a little brush, a mini brush, a microfiber cloth. I love pipe cleaners. I use them to clean in that needle area, and I'll show you. And you're going to need an oiler. I know today's machines are self-lubricating. Many brands tell you you do not have to oil the machine, and I do follow that guideline, but I like a little drop, one just tiny little drop on my pipe cleaner, so that when I feed it into that bobbin and hook area, I can really swipe out all the lint and fibers that are in there. And of course, on your multi-needle machine, you do need to oil every day, and I hope you do that. I have a dealer friend out on the West Coast who says, I never do that on his, you know, floor model. It performs beautifully, but I do it because that's what's recommended. And I can hear the difference in the machine, the performance of the machine when it's been oiled or not. So you should also get to know your machine by sound. It will tell us when it's thirsty. It will tell us when there's a broken needle for sure, or tangled thread. So get to know your machine. Let's see. We also want to gather some tools to clean. So I like to use my MagnaView lamp because, you know, I'm north of 60, right? So it's getting darker and darker in that area, and everything is getting smaller and smaller. So that's a big help. I also use a Snap Hoop Monster top frame to keep all of my tools together. And I'll show you what I mean. And if you have a mini vac, it's a good idea to do it. And a handy set of screwdrivers is definitely, well, handy. Let's take a look at what we have in store for you today with this little kit that's so affordable and really indispensable in the sewing room. So this small kit that we put together has 4 screwdrivers, and it also has a hollow needle oiler. Comes with the oil in it, but you can refill it, and it has a really nice little lint brush, all for $24.99. Great price, and it's, indispensable in your sewing room, and also maybe in your garage for, other tasks at hand. So let's go ahead to the overhead and take a look at how to clean those standard hoops, because they do get dirty. So I have a much loved one here. This is a 8x8, and you can see it's a little grimy, right? So I'm just going to use a microfiber cloth and spray it with a household cleaner. Now this is, I'm not endorsing anything, but this is a brand called Awesome, and I think you get it in the dollar store, believe it or not. And it is, well, appropriately named, because just with a little swipe like that, all those dark marks and gunkiness that builds up over time is removed. I mean, it's coming off really nicely. And, you don't really notice how dirty your hoops are until you start to clean them, right? And then, it's kind of like the before and after. You can see the difference between this side and that side. And maybe my camera's not showing it too closely, but look at my cloth, what has come off on this cloth, right? So it's so nice to get them clean and just spanking new. They look like they're spanking new. And, if you're considering selling your machine, you should do this before you sell your machine, right? If you're going to upgrade, and make sure that you clean all these items for the next person who's going to enjoy your machine. And so, once I get this done all on the exterior, I'll flip it over and do the same technique to the back. And then I'll also separate it. Open up that screw. Oh, maybe not. And then make sure that the interior edge is clean also, right? All the way around. Yeah, doesn't take long, but it's really worthwhile to do. And you're just going to feel so good, right? Don't you always feel really great when your home has been cleaned so nicely? Okay, so next up is a sticky hoop. And the bottom, over time, you're going to get buildup from the adhesive stabilizer. And some of it I could, probably take my thumbnail and, push it off, peel it off, right? But we have found that mineral spirits are the easy way to clean that stabilizer off the hoop. And so look, I'm just saturating it, and you can see it's still there a little bit, but it's what the goal is to saturate it with the mineral spirits all the way around. And then once it's wet a little bit, it would literally just start to slide off. And it just kind of takes a minute. I guess it's not saturated enough. So one thing about those microfiber towels, right? They're really handy, but they do hold liquid pretty well. So we'll just take a minute here, and this will all start to come off. Yeah, so here you can see it's starting to peel off, and in a little while, I'll be able to just pull that whole layer right off of the edge. So isn't that great? And then they become so nice and smooth. And sometimes maybe, you'll hesitate to use it again, right? But you'll know if you have a can of that mineral spirits handy in your cleaning utility room or your garage, then you always have the ability to make it as good as new again. So it takes a little elbow grease, but it does come right off. And, we'll finish that up after the live. You don't need to watch me clean a snap hoop. And I'm going to put the cap back on the mineral spirits because that stuff is powerful. And I'm in a kind of a closed space here. It's not advisable to do that. So next up is a embroidery foot. Now, do they really get that dirty? No, they don't get that dirty. But in case they do, what I like to do is use a pipe cleaner, and I go underneath that, I don't know the name, but this bar that lifts, right, as the needle goes up and down. I can often find lint and threads can get captured in there. And just a little swipe like that, and now it's good as new, and I don't have to worry about any buildup in that area. And it just makes for better embroidery, right? Okay, well, let me see if we have any questions before we head over to the machines. Okay, have you tried a product called, Linda Johnson says, have I tried a product called Goo Gone? I have, Linda, and it works fabulous. I personally don't like the smell of Goo Gone, so I kind of avoid it. I'm also not real thrilled with the oily texture of it. So that's just my personal opinion. We do use it at home on other things. Sometimes you just have to do it, right? Let's see. What do you use to clean the mineral spirits off the hoop so you don't have it? Oh, I just wipe it with a dry cloth, Debbie, and it doesn't really leave a residue. And in fact, it evaporates, in the air. So I don't have to worry about that. Let's see. Mickey Smith, she says, totally awesome is great. That's the product that I used to clean the standard hoop. That's this. And she says it's awesome for cleaning your cutting mats on a digital cutter. It makes them sticky again. I have heard that, and maybe we'll do that in a future live, but I haven't done it myself. So Mickey, I take your word for it. And for those of you who want to try it, give it a try at home. We'll see how that all works out, right? We'll learn together. Okay, let's see. Lacey Hamilton, she says the Goo Gone smell is migraine inducing. I agree. Okay, I'm going to go open the door because, wow, I'm gagging in here. And then we're going to go over to the single needle machine. Now, I hope you'll bear with me. Today, we have 5 cameras hooked up here. And that's a lot of directing. That's a lot of stands, a lot of wires. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that everything goes as planned. Okay, I'll see you over there. I'll be right. Okay, folks, thanks for hanging out with me. I had to open the door and I had to get a drink of water. So we are back and we're live. Okay, so let's go to the single needle machine. Now, this is a machine that is considered self-lubricating. So I would not oil this, but I can maintain it, right? I can make sure that it's nice and clean. I've turned the power off. That's the first thing you want to do. Here's my monster hoop. Look how handy it is to keep all these tools in place. Here's my pipe cleaner. My tools, because they're metal, will just stick right to it. And I have it upside down, right? Here's the right side of the hoop. Oh, we don't want to do that. There we go. So now we'll just leave it here. And I'm going to remove the foot. And I would take my pipe cleaner here, and I would, insert that pipe cleaner in there and get any fuzz out of there that's in that thread guide, or, well, it's not a thread guide, but that area there. Okay, so we can remove the ankle. That just gives us a little bit more space, right? So I'll put that up there. And also, let's remove the needle. And I'm going to take my screwdriver that has that barrel handle, and I'm just going to remove the needle. And, it's a good idea when you're cleaning your machine, just toss that needle away, right? You probably aren't going to need it again. But this barrel head has that flat base for a flat screw, but that pear-shaped bulb handle is so comfortable. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the bobbin case, not the bobbin case, but the plate, this. And now I want to remove this top plate. Some of them today have a spring, and you can just do that, with a slip of a lever. But this little screwdriver is going to make really handy, easy work of removing this screw. And I'm just trying to get my hand out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. And I keep my index finger on the top and just spin that wheel. That's as easy as that. And then once it's really extended and out of the space, I take it out and I'm going to drop it right on that monster hoop, and it's going to stay in place. And I have one more screw to replace, to remove. And we'll do that now. And again, I'm just turning that dial with my finger, keeping my right index finger on top of the wheel and spinning it around. It's kind of hard to do this. Make sure that you can see it on camera and try not to get my head down in there. And I'm not at the right angle to actually use my magnifier. It's giving me the light, but not I'm not using the actual magnifier, and it would be quite handy. Oh my goodness, I can't seem to get down there. I'm working kind of upside down. Oh my. Depth perception as you age also changes, right? So things that are close appear further away. There we go. Take that off. Okay, now we did have this cleaned fairly recently, so it looks good. It really does. But still, there is some lint in there. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm going to drop a little drop of oil on it. I just want to show you this hollow needle oiler. I love precision tools like this. So it has a little, clip that you can leave in a pocket. You pull that off, and then it has this really fine tip. So it's just going to be the tiniest amount. On my pipe cleaner, I always bend it over. And this is the area that I'm going to lubricate, and that's what I'm going to put into the machine. And just literally one drop. That's all I need. And your dealer might tell you you don't need to do that, but I find it really does pick up all the lint and all the fuzz that's in there. And that's from a machine that was just cleaned, right? Here, maybe if I put it under here, you could see. Look how dirty that is, right? Anyway, okay. You can put this pipe cleaner through the feed dogs in that area. You want to clean that, get any kind of fuzz or lint that's been building up in there out of harm's way. And as this gets full of lint, I just bend another section and hit it with another little drop of oil. And then I can kind of work down around. Sometimes around the bobbin case, you'll find that you have more thread and more buildup. And that's it. I mean, that's really all you have to do. Anything else your dealer should really do. Now, I will tell you, if you turn the flywheel, there's no harm in wiping this clean, because sometimes you'll have thread buildup here. You'll see like a ring of thread that will, from the motion of the needle going up and down, it will build up. So if you just kind of give that a swipe with a pipe cleaner, that'll make that nice and clean and perform a little bit better. And then you just want to put it all back together, right? So actually, they tell you to put on the plate first, because that will help you set this in place once that's set. So we're going to go ahead and drop in those screws, and we'll get them set. We can kind of start them by hand a little bit. And it's best to put both screws in so that before tightening them up, they'll align a little bit better, and you won't have to struggle with getting the second one aligned because they'll be started. There we go. And now we'll just use our screwdriver to tighten that up. And it has, it's spring loaded, these needle plates, so you can feel the give in there. And, that's because there's sensors in these machines now that are telling the machine if the needle plate is the right one that's on the machine. And also if it's not attached, the machine knows it. So now we want to go ahead and insert our bobbin case. I like to also use that very same pipe cleaner to clean the inside of the bobbin case. And I flip it over and do the same on the bottom, the sides. It's also a good time to take a good look at the bobbin case and feel it. Are there any nicks or burrs? Because if there are, that can be catching on thread and can often result in thread shredding or actual breakage. So there's a white dot on the bobbin case and one on the machine. You match them up, and then you know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Then we put that plastic cover back in place, snap it in, the bobbin goes in, and so does our cover. So that same microfiber cloth that I used, I would also use to clean the bed, and I would, use it to clean the top of the machine, take all the thread out and just keep that all dust free. And when you're not using the machine, close your dust cover. It's the best way to keep that clean. Okay, let's now head over to the multi-needle. Maybe I should check and see if there's any questions. I think I have everything with me over here that I need. Let's see. Okay. How often do you change your case? Well, I only change my case when there's a problem, Heather. If I have the machine malfunctioning, that's when I'll go to the dealer, or I'll take a really good look at that bobbin case. And sometimes I don't even take the whole machine in. I just take the bobbin case and say, I need another one. So that's really quite handy. And Rita, you like the pipe cleaner idea? Yeah, pipe cleaners are so handy. They really are. They're just awesome. Oh, and there's our friend Stephanie Young from Caesar. Nice to have you here, Stephanie. Thanks for joining in. And let's see, Sharon Crean wants to know, will the round screwdriver work on other machines? Yes, the round screwdriver will definitely work on needle bars on, I think, all machines, because it's a pretty generous opening. And those needle screws are universal on all machines except those that are not a regular screw. There are some that are flat. So then you don't even need a screwdriver, right? Because they're a little bit easier to open. All right, let's see. You need the kit. Cynthia Saxon. Yeah, you should get the kit. It's $24.99. It's awesome. It's just awesome. And hello, Angela Wolf. Lovely to have you here. And such a nice photo of you and Win. Okay, so let's go over to the multi-needle. Now, my multi-needle is a little bit older than some, but oh man, it's handy. I love this. They're workhorses. If you want to get into a multi-needle embroidery, don't be afraid, because it is really awesome. All right, I'm just going to turn my cameras around here a little bit, or my laptop, so I can see what's happening. We're going to start by cleaning up here. And if you have a multi-needle machine, I'm about to do something that's going to make you cringe, because it makes me cringe. I'm going to cut all these threads, go right across. Now, why does that make me cringe? Well, because normally we do that behind all these thread guides. We do it closer to the spool itself, so that when we're going to change colors, we can just tie one on. But today, we're doing it totally different. I'm completely unthreading this machine. So I am going to pull all these threads out of the guides. I'm just pulling them right through. I don't know if you can actually see that, but now I don't have any thread up here at all. So next thing I want to do is find a trash can, because that's a hot mess. But anyway, I like to use a vacuum. Oh my gosh. This is here. I'm going to get this up here so you could see. Well, I'll show you on the overhead cam, but okay, this is going to be a little loud, all right? But we're going to clean this whole top. And I'm going to clean in here. Okay, that's good for right now. Isn't that cool? Now, next up, we're going to clean underneath these tensions. This little piece comes off. This is just a cap. And then there's a spring. And we're going to keep that inside my monster hoop, my 4x4. And here's the base. And then this is the tension guide. And on top of it, it has a piece of felt. It's really flattened over time. Now let's take a look at it. So this is the top, how I picked it up. The bottom has this like black magnet. So remember that, right? That's how you're going to put it back. And then we're also going to remove this other felt, which is really well loved. Look how it's flattened out, but that's okay. It's doing its job. And I just do this one at a time. And then I'm going to take my microfiber towel, and I don't have any, I'm going to use a corner that's clean. I don't have any substance on this, and I'm just going to wipe that off. Because you might get some buildup in there. And, you know, you can have resistance in the tension discs and so forth. Now, if we had lint on these, we would want to brush that off and most certainly brush off anything that's on the actual tension disc. So the first thing that's going to happen, and let's also clean that base. There we go. That's nice. And if you remember how it went, we had the felt first, and then button or magnet side down. And then we have the next piece of felt. It goes over there. And then we had the cover. And if you'll notice, there's a horizontal, bar there, right? So this is like a split screw, I would call it. I'm sure it's got some other name. So it has to go in the right way. And then the spring. And this little piece was on top. And that just snaps on. There we go. And this goes, oh, maybe that wasn't supposed to be there. Oh, not good. We'll figure out where that was supposed to go. So now we turn this. Now I have this all wrong. See? This is why you don't do all 10 at a time. And this is why your dealer is so helpful. Okay, so let's take a look. I had this on upside down. This is really like a tray, not a cap. Our tension spring is going to sit inside there. Now I'm going to take off the one next to it so that we can see where this little piece goes. So you can see this is something I don't do every day. Okay, yeah, that does go right on top of my spring. There we go. So I'm going to put this back on because after my live, I'm going to fix all these. Now, how do we get the tension back how we want it? You're supposed to have 3 gray bars visible above this line. So as long as you have your 3 gray bars, then you can worry about getting the tension set back up. And there's that test file that comes in the machine that will run all 10 needles at one time. not one after the other, and that can help you check your tension. But I have to do this to all of the other needles, so we won't do that right now because you don't want to watch me do that. It's going to take forever. Okay, now let's go ahead and switch. We start at the top, we work our way down. We've already vacuumed all this area, but often there's an awful lot of buildup on underneath the needle plate. So let's go ahead and open that up. Take a look. First thing I do is pull out that bobbin case because we don't need it right now. And I'll just set that aside. And you maybe, because it's so bright here, it looks like this is so clean. Well, let me tell you, it's not. This is a well-loved machine. So I can use my vacuum here. That just moved the table. Sorry. You can also use canned air, right? A lot of people, and even repair technicians, will use this. I personally do not like to use the canned air on my machine. But if you do use it, always use it in a vertical position so that only air is coming out. If you do it at an angle or upside down, you'll get freon coming out. One fun thing is you can bend this, right, and direct that airflow wherever you want it. So, but I don't like to blow things in. I like to pull it out. So I use a vacuum. And these little vacuums are so handy. And then you don't have to get your big vacuum out to work on a machine or to clean up your sewing area. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I thought I had another pipe cleaner over here, but I guess not. So I'll just use the other end. And again, I'm going to put that little drop of oil on it. And because it's such a fine-tuned tip, that's all it's going to do. It's just getting that tiny little drop. And I'm going to swipe out that bobbin case and get whatever junk is in there. And also underneath, because you do get a lot of lint buildup over time. Things, will get stuck in there and so forth. And I also have this nice brush that has a long feathers on it, and that's really quite handy. So sometimes I go ahead in there and I just brush around, and I'm loosening up any kind of grime or felt or lint, and then go back in with the vacuum cleaner and clean that up. Okay, now we're going to take off our plate because oftentimes in our blade, right, the cutter is where we get threads caught. So I'm using our extended tip screwdriver because these screws in the needle plate are countersunk. So they're deeper than the top of the plate. And that's the kind of screwdriver that you need, something with a nice, extended tip. Doesn't have to be real long. And then once they're out, you can do that manually. Pull, rotate them by hand and try to get them out. These are longer than the ones in the single needle machine, so they take a little bit more. But what I like about that is I could just drop them right onto that monster hoop and they'll stay right there. See, I love that. My husband is often stealing my frame to use in his tool area when he's working on items. So now we're going to go ahead and lift this off. I would like to point out to you that there are also, there's actually quite a number of holes here. It's these two that receive the screws that we just removed. This one is an opening for the screw that's here that adjusts the cutter. You don't want to touch that, okay? Just leave that as is. That's something that your technician will adjust if you're really having problems there. Okay, this is actually a pretty clean machine, so I don't have much caught in there, but you sure could. This is the adjustable blade, and this one will move in and out. That's what swipes the thread, and this one cuts, and this one pulls and swipes. So if you get an error message that says, oh, what's that? When the trimmer is in, there's been an error there. That's why there's often too many threads caught under there. So again, we're just going to drop these back in. And, you know, I find it's best to just kind of get them started by hand. I do the one on the other side and then get this one started also. And that sets the plate in the right position, right? If you get one secured all the way down and tightly screwed in, you might have trouble getting the other one in place. And then we'll just take that extended tip, and then same way, where I just keep my index finger on the top and spin that wheel. And you just want to hand tight it. That's all. It doesn't have to be very tight at all, because if you know, when you get a new machine, and often want the factory setting, I mean, I've had to ask my husband or somebody here in the office to loosen the screw for me because it's so tight, and I don't really want that. Now, the last thing we want to do is put a drop of oil on our bobbin case. And check your manual. Many of them will tell you do it over here or right here. Just one drop per day, and boy, your machine will just hum. And in goes the bobbin. Just make sure you're using the right bobbins for your machine. And you are ready to stitch. Oh, I love it. It's going to be so nice. It's going to just hum for me now, I think. Okay, let me head back over, see if you have questions. Don't you just love that kit? Oh my goodness, all those pieces. Let's bring them over. Let me gather them up, bring them over so you can get a bird's eye view. All righty. Okay, what kind of questions? For my single needle Janome, the service tech asked me never use the canned air. Right. Carolyn, I've heard that too. Some dealers say yes, other dealers say no. I personally don't use the canned air. I just think it's a little too tricky. And, you know, if we're always trying to pull stuff out of it, why would we blow it in, right? Yeah, Ann Philbeck, she keeps all her machines clean. Good for you. That's a smart way to run your sewing room, right? Yeah. Oh, let's see. Okay, is it computer or phone? Yeah, we do have a little feedback. I apologize for that. Like I said, we have 5 cameras in here today, and you know, we're doing a little bit more than we normally do. And let's see, Laurie Nuda wants to know, can you tell me a little bit more about that vacuum? Your brother Airflow 3000 gets so much lint. Well, I'll tell you, it could be the thread that you're using, or it could be the fabric that you're stitching on, because it's not really the machine, your brother Airflow 3000. Cotton thread shreds excessively. Polyester thread hardly sheds at all. There'll be almost no lint. So, but here, yeah, I can show you that I just bought this. I have one at home. So this cool little vacuum is actually made by Simplicity. And I just got it, you know, with that online. I got it on Amazon. And it comes with, you know, different attachments, and it's small, but it's got a nice long cord, which makes it quite handy to use. So I have 2 machines over there. So this is the kit, right? Now here I have to put that all back together. And already I don't have the lid on the oiler. So let me go retrieve that. But look, it's pinpoint delivery. Don't you love that? Oh my goodness, I just love that. So it's going to get exactly where you want it, exactly where you plan to put it on the machine. It's not going to ooze out like a big drop here. I'm going to show you my old container that I used. And, you know, this is common. You see this everywhere. It's, you know, a whole bottle, right? And then you pull this up and you remove that red tip. Not so easily, apparently. Oh my goodness, I can't even get it off. There we go. But look at the difference between those 2 tips, right? It's night and day. it's really night and day. So this is just going to deliver it right where I want it. This is going to ooze out too much at one time, especially on these machines that are self-lubricated that we don't really need much oil on, or almost no oil, right? The reason I'm using oil on that single needle machine over there is not to oil the machine, but actually to oil my tool, the pipe cleaner, to pull out the felt and lint and buildup that's in there. And then, of course, it has its little protective cap, and it is refillable. So you'll just unscrew it here, and then you can fill it back up. And it's a delicate little thing, so don't just treat it gently. And I like this brush. We have the nice long tips here, and then this most certainly can get into nooks and crannies and clean around those tension discs and so forth on the multi-needle. And then all of our different tools, we do have a Phillips head, which I didn't need to use today. We have the flat screwdriver and the extended tip screwdriver. And of course, that this is a flathead with a barrel edge so that it's easy to get those needles released. So it makes me want to go home and mop my floor. She never says that. Okay. So what kind of questions do we have? Everybody, I want to know, how many times a year do you clean your machine? Do you do it by, are you on a schedule, like a monthly schedule? Or do you do it, maybe you have a really large project, like you made a queen size quilt that you actually pieced and then embroidered on the same machine. Would you clean it then? Or, what is your rule of thumb? How would you do that? Just let us know in the comments. Let's see. Sharon says, not enough. Wow. Verla says every week. Oh, do you live here in Dallas? You should come work for us. We would love that. And Vicki, you do it after every project. That's great. So all of you ladies who are looking for a used machine, these are the people to buy from. They take really good care of their machines, right? Let's see, Retha, when you sewed velvet, you cleaned a lot. That's right. And absolutely, the fabric that you're working on will dictate how often you're going to have to clean. And Sarah, you agree with that for sure. And what's our good friend Reen Wilcoxon in Embroidery Garden say? She says she's bad. She usually cleans it after the holidays, and then if she has an issue. What I think I love about Reen the most, she is so honest. She's just downright honest. I love it. I'll bet, Reen, I'm kind of with you. I don't do it as often as I should, for sure. And I probably never do it after the holidays. And Linda Brooks, you clean your serger every time. I do that too in my serger, actually. It's because it's just so easy to just clean that out really quickly. And the buildup of all the lint that gets in there and shreds of fabric, because you're trimming it off right at the machine on a serger, for sure. And Linda Brooks, you love Reen. Mm-hmm. Oh, and let's see. Elizabeth Dickerson, when you change your bobbin, if you see lint, it's time. Well, that's a very good guideline for sure. Yeah, because when you're pulling out that bobbin case, you can see if there's a mess in there, for sure. And let's see. And Linda, it depends on how much you're sewing. You're doing it more frequently, especially after cotton thread. I have to tell you, I'm so spoiled using polyester thread, our exquisite polyester thread brand, that I hardly ever have lint in my machines, because I have found once I moved away from that cotton, I don't get the lint buildup that I used to. So let's see. And Retha, you don't have a baby lock dealer anymore. You have to have yours professionally cleaned. So you do have to really take good care of it yourself, and you can, for sure. And Linda Brooks, after 50 red stockings, your serger is pretty red. Yes, that or blue jeans, right? Ooh, for sure. So yeah, well, I'm so proud of all of you. You seem to be taking really good care of your machines. And it's important to do that, right? Like I said, if you take good care of your machine, then your machine will take care of you by producing beautiful embroidery. So I hope that you'll take advantage of today's special, which is that whole toolkit. You're going to get that hollow oiler, and the lint brush, and those 4 really handy ergonomic tools, all screwdrivers. So you'll just love that. $24.99, you can't beat it. And maybe you want to get two, one for a friend, one for your husband, so he doesn't steal your tools, right? Okay, let's see what's next. Well, we know you want to know what's coming up next. Well, on August 20th, we have Ashley Jones doing her second session on special effects software. I know many of you watched last Tuesday, and she's coming back for part 2. So I hope that you'll join her. And if you missed part 1, you can watch the replay on both Facebook and YouTube. So don't miss it. Don't get behind. Watch it and then tune in on the 20th for her next software success. But she is actually going to cover for me next week because I'm heading up to see my granddaughter and in Virginia. And Ashley is going to be with Patricia Gates from Purely Gates. They're going to do a smash up job next Thursday. I can't wait to see what they have in store. Patricia always has a wonderful trunk show to share with everybody, and she usually has a great coupon for all of you. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. And let's see, Retha, you said last week was your county fair. It was fun and exciting week, entering all of my entries. Why? Did you get any ribbons, Retha? How was it? Was it a really exciting time? I know there's so many. In these county fairs and the state fairs, boy, if you can go to one, do it. Support those local farmers and just the home ec, all these people who just love to sew and garden. It's wonderful. It's just one garden and cook. Oh my goodness, so much fun. Yeah. And Linda S., you said you think that those tools, screwdrivers, look great for your arthritic fingers. Well, I can second that. I mean, I've been working with these hands a long time. Been very blessed. They're still working. Okay. I know that you don't want to miss a session, so please like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you always know when we're going live. And we also hope that you will share your projects with us on social media by using the hashtag #DimeSoLong, hashtag on the house, or hashtag exquisite thread. We'll scour the internet, the social media channels to find your projects and then share them here so that everybody can see what you've been up to. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you've been stitching. Well, following along with our farm, animals, this week we have the friendly fox. Isn't he adorable? Oh, he's just so cute with his little off-center tuft of hair, of fur on top of his head. So I hope that you'll enjoy him and that you will join Ashley and Patricia Gates next week. They're going to have a blast. You definitely don't want to miss that. So I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, keep stitching and join Ashley and Patricia next month.